Power panel now. Matt Schlapp, ACU chairman, and David Carlucci, former Democratic New York State senator. Thanks to both of you for joining us. Matt, I have trouble finding the part of his speech, especially yesterday, where he's attempting to unite the country. Can he achieve this in today's environment, Matt?
No, not when you have a person who said that he wanted to unify the country and is now going after 50% of the country. You know, Hillary Clinton tried this. She called people with my values a basket of deplorables. When you want to be the president of the United States by running against a huge part of the country, you're not the uniter, you're the divider in chief. And the crazy thing when he calls people like me fascists, I'm not the one who tried to close churches and close them down. I didn't close down schools. I'm not telling people they can't be in the Marines if they don't take a vaccine. I don't have a war on gender or war on parents. You know, he is what he slurs us to be.
David, that's tough to hear because this is a president that promised. He campaigned on uniting the country. Why is he not reaching across the aisle more as he promised?
Well, I think the president is reaching across the aisle. When he's making those statements about the extreme MAGA agenda, he's talking directly to Republicans. He's talking directly to independents. He's not shying away from saying, look, this is not the entire Republican Party. This is the extreme of the Republican Party that now has a stranglehold on the Republican Party. Look at these primaries where Republicans were really forced to embrace this MAGA agenda, meaning upholding and defending January 6th, denying that President Biden is the president legally of the United States, denying a woman's right to choose. These are the issues that are extreme, and that's resonating not just with Democrats, but with Republicans as well.
I want to move on, but Matt, real quick response to that.
Yeah, this is outrageous. The Trump agenda was universally popular. You can't argue with where the economy was. You can't argue with where gas prices were. You can't argue where we were with a closed southern border and good relationships with a socialist head of the Mexican party. You're demonizing the people because you lost on the policy. And if this election is about your agenda, sir, you're going to get squashed. And so bring on November.
All right, so let's bring on this Axios piece. It's laying out Democrats' vote-shaming turnout strategy. A Democratic super PAC is pouring $30 million into social media ads aimed at pressuring younger voters. It cites studies that show vote shaming can be an effective way to increase voter participation. And according to disclosure data, all the ads are targeting people in key midterm battleground states. You agree with this, David?
I think it's a good strategy. I think it's one where educating particularly young voters about the realities of how the voting process works, the fact that the information of you voting or not voting is public record. That's information that people should understand. I know running for office many years, a perfect example I have is when you're at the supermarket and somebody walks by you, if they take a palm card, the next person will take a palm card. It's social proof. If the person denies it, the next person will deny it. So it's that social proof, understanding that you're a part of the community, that your vote matters, and trying to encourage people that, hey, you've got to pay attention, you've got to figure out who you support, and make sure your voice is heard.
I have a hard time thinking shaming anybody into doing anything is never a good strategy.
Well, shaming is a term that you're using.
Yeah,
Axios
I think that the term shaming might be the wrong word. I think people all have to understand that whether someone votes or not is a public record. And I actually want more people to vote. I look at these polls that show Hispanic voters and black voters coming the way of conservative candidates, and I'd like to see more of them voting. I want to not repeat the illegal voting of 2020, but I want to see the American people see real value in voting. I actually think it's going to benefit conservative candidates if more people vote, but only once.
Okay. Critics, meanwhile, also questioning President Biden after he appeared to go off script during his speech. This happened last night. Watch.
And you know where you can always tell where the best basketball in the state is and the best basketball in the city is. It's where everybody shows up. I remember going on the east side in Wilmington and one of those old Victorian 2-3-story apartment buildings and going up to see a woman. And she'd say, Joey, I know what's going on. They all plan it downstairs. I can hear them. but I'm afraid to tell anybody. And so I got her so that I got a phone number for the local cops. She'd call. They promised not to identify her because they knew there'd be retribution. And the crime rate began to drop for real, not a joke.
And that continues. The Washington Examiner op-ed argues letting Joe be Joe presents an opportunity for the GOP. And a New York Post op-ed says Biden is unfit to save the soul of the nation. Quote, all politicians lie, but Biden doesn't stop there. He's a proven plagiarist, a fabulist, always the hero of his own stories. The Walter Mitty of American politics. Matt?
You know, I thought it was rather breathtaking when he said the best basketball is played in the part of the state that has the highest crime rate. I mean, he just keeps talking and saying things that seem crazy. I think the bigger problem he has is he's now trying to run on a pro-cop agenda. He has a bill to try to encourage more people to become police officers. This is after so many years of demonizing cops. He supported legislation which would make it easier to put cops in jail and to take away their pensions simply for trying to keep us safe. All the Black Lives Matter support, which has as its number one policy goal defunding cops. Joe Biden can't step away from the woke agenda that is making our cities less safe and making Americans angry.
David, I only got a few seconds. Real quick, final thought on that.
I think Joe Biden is pushing back hard to say, look, defund the police serves no part of the Democratic lexicon. And the reality is now we see Republicans saying defund the FBI. Look, we're saying, and Democrats, Biden is saying, we support police. We have to give them the resources they need, and we have to do something about gun
message
safety.
Is coming a little too late. I've got to leave it there. I'm out of time. Thanks to both of you for joining us. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, David.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Sandra.
So is one of the country's most famous bromances actually fake? Biden and Obama, not really a thing? Say it ain't so. We're going to dig into that. Plus, some high education hypocrisy. President Biden says he's taking on the high cost of a college degree, but silence when asked about taking $1 million from a top university. Tammy Bruce is in focus next.